Does size matter? Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about farm size. I'm sitting at a table with some people that are pretty good sized farmers. If they had to do it over again, would they decide to go small scale farmers? Maybe a little less money to manage? Big, small, medium size? Does size matter when it comes to your farming operation? That's what we're talking about in this episode of the Granary. On a farm, the work's never really done. We're calling the day anyway, because my friends from XtremeAg are coming over. You ready for a conversation with some real farmers about real issues? And the best part, you're invited. So pour yourself a drink, grab a snack, most importantly, pull up a chair. Welcome to the Granary. Hey guys. All right, guys. I know we could obviously make some sophomoric jokes about this, but let's ask the question, does size matter? You're all larger scale farming operations. Generally, that's the direction everything's gone in American agriculture, consolidation, bigger, more acres. Each of you are quite a bit bigger farmers than your parents were, than your grandparents were. Do you ever wonder, I think maybe it'd be a lot more fun if I farmed 400 acres of specialty crops and everything was on a smaller scale and I didn't have as much money in the air. Ever think about that? Does size matter? Matt?
Oh, yeah. That's, in my opinion, that's the American dream. I would love to farm 2,000 acres of ground, and make the money that I need to make to provide for my family. Back 20 years ago, you could do that. Equipment's gotten bigger. Commodities have stayed low. Inputs have went up. We've got to farm more acres per hour, even though we got to do it quality. Mm-hmm. We've got to farm more acres per hour. But I don't think there's a farmer out there that's poked their chest out because I farmed 20,000 acres. I think each one of us would rather farm 2,000 acres and have a life than spend all of our time trying to make a dollar. And that's something we've looked at. And I've had to increase my operation as I went. What I've always looked at is a lower profit margin. If you're making $50 an acre and you've got 10,000 acres, you do the math versus 2,000 acres. We get a bad name for that. I mean, you get on some of these social media sites, they're like, well, all these big farmers do the big farmer. We've been forced to do that. And unfortunately, some haven't been able to do that, but we're not doing this on a large scale because we think it's cool. We're doing it to provide for our families. That's my opinion on it.
But you also provide for multiple families. You could do it, but you would have to get rid of a lot of your labor, which is a lot of your family. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I get why you do it. As far as does size matter, as far as farming operations, I don't think that it matters at all. And here's why. You take the guy that is a small scale farmer. I don't care if he's 400 acres or 500 acres. That guy is so in tune with everything that he does because he has to make every acre count for the most. He does a way better job than I do, or Matt does, or Chad, any of us. He's thinking way outside the box. And those guys right there is who I've learned the most from. I really have.
There's no throwaway acres when you're a smaller scale operator because the intensity, obviously, per acre. First day, one of the first days you and I worked together was at the Farm Progress Show in 2021. And you spent a bunch of time with a couple of these companies that were in specialty crop. And you said, I go over here and learn because these people are 10 years ahead of broadacre row crop. And I think you may have even said, man, it'd be kind of neat just farm a couple of acres, but I don't know if you said it or not. I know he said it a number of times.
Oh, I always said a lot of times, if I could farm 2,500 acres and just do it with family and it'd be all irrigated, it'd be fun. It'd be fun, And we talk about that and I listen to your angle on it, the small guy, and I listen to Matt's angle on it, on the larger guy, And it takes so many acres, for Matt to justify one cotton picker. There's so many acres.
1,500 minimum.
To justify the payment on a cotton picker. Okay, well, if you look at it in that way, this guy that farms 300 acres, well, think about what he has to, at 300 acres, look at what he has to do to figure out how to get a tractor. Now, we're not talking about a brand new tractor. We're talking about a tractor that's, let's say, 8,400. Yeah. Let's say a 98 model, 2000 model, 8,400 right now, which will bring 85,000 for 300. Figure that out because the math is the same.
Yeah.
The equipment costs the same. The only way you can make it.
It's cost per acre.
Spread it over acre.
It's cost per acre.
We don't have 300 acre farmers left in our area. I mean, we don't have.
There's a bunch of. There's a lot of them.
But are they doing something else?
Oh
too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Would they want to just farm? Yeah, that's absolutely what they'd like to do.
Most of the guys a lot of guys that work for me now were 1,000, 1,200 acre farmers that couldn't increase their land, and it just didn't work for them.
So they go and drive the tractor and run the truck for the guy down the road, which is you, and then maybe the acres they own, you pick up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the common
Yeah,
thing.
but you look at some of the stuff that we do.
And then some of them still work their acres and work for you.
Yeah, I've got one guy that's been with me 25 years.
That's what's made
Chris
you
Anderson
so
farms.
good.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he gets opinions from all these other farmers that are working with inside his operation. You know, you take those guys that are smaller scale, that are doing all this crazy outside box thinking, and you're doing it too, Matt. But how many large like you are, larger scale farmers are doing what you do on their acres? Not very many, if any at all, because the only thing that they have to do is
per hour.
yeah, I mean, those guys are real acres per hour because nothing else matters. Run as hard as they can, run it like you stole it 24/7 until we're done. If the weather's right, they don't have time to go and make that extra application, which costs money. Now, is there a big ROI on it? Yeah, absolutely. But there's just not enough time in a day.
You guys intensively manage, for as many acres you cover, you still cover it exceedingly well and intensively. Because one argument might be, well, once you get so big, you just can't really pay attention. You guys are somehow walking that tightrope. And I say that it's kind of a tightrope to be damn good at it and intensively managing that many acres.
That's the challenge.
That's where you guys are. And that's where I've got a healthy amount of respect.
So, you know, if you look at it, there's certain things that come through our industry. You know, Roundup Ready.
Yeah.
When Roundup Ready come in, it allowed people to go back to farming a few acres, 50 acres, 100 acres, work a steady job, work at the water department or work at a plant, and then come in. They could farm on the weekends. They could farm Roundup Ready. Well, guess what happened in our area to Roundup Ready? Palmer pigweed.
Yeah.
When pigweed come in, they couldn't handle it no more because you couldn't, that thing grows so fast that it would get out of hand and it put them back out of business again.
Well, No-Till did the same thing for people.
No-Till did the same thing. So there's things that come along that will get people back into business, and then you take years exactly like this year, low prices.
You mean like a part-timer, like a guy like me that has a business? Yeah, I could farm my own acres, buy some old used equipment and cover a couple hundred acres, but
You're talking full-time farmers.
yeah. So, well, around here, like you talked about, there's people that have a job in town and they maybe inherited 160 and then their buddy down the road, they farm a couple hundred acres or 400 acres, you know, because they can. But obviously the town job subsidizes that quite a bit. But his point is that person, when they're at work for a week and things are getting out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was the same way back when we didn't have all this technology, when we had cotton and wheat. You could have your cotton in the best shape possible. You go cut a wheat crop and it'd take you 10 days and you come back and like you ain't never farmed cotton before. Like it'd be run smooth away because we was cultivating at the time, you know, and what you're spraying underneath cotton. I would be run smooth away. Plant bugs be eating it up. Be boll weevils, be 3 of them in there, 2 of them doing something other than watching for the airplane, you know. I mean, it's bad.
You two, just like I do, we get tons and tons and tons of phone calls from members and other people across the country that have a question that they want to help. Who do you get that phone call from? You getting a phone call from a guy that's tilling 15,000 acres, or are you getting a guy that you're going to get a phone call from 2,000 acres or less?
Oh, 2,000 acres.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you know why? Because he needs to make every acre count. The big guy is worrying about production, acres per day, and slamming it in. And look, I don't blame that guy at all, but you can't blame the little guy either. Those little guys, I can help those guys. I can't help that large scale farmer.
Let's just say, all right, your wives are all capable of working. They have had corporate jobs, still do. Would you be content if you farmed 1,200 acres, wife has a good job, you get some help on harvest season to kind of move some semis. Generally, you could cover it yourself. Would that satisfy you? You're kind of a go-getter. Would that satisfy you to be a 1,000-acre farmer?
At what age?
Would that satisfy you?
Well, it'd be hard to run the Buick on that.
the race car. The race car. Yeah.
If you didn't have the Buick, and that wasn't killing
then
you.
your lifestyle would change because you wouldn't have enough money to fuel the race car.
I would be.
By the way, is it a contemplation?
I would be bored.
Okay.
I mean, the reason that let's take Matt told you kind of what he does, and every one of us have a different angle for farming more acres. Yep. You know what my angle is? Because I don't know when I'm gonna lose the ground that I've got.
to an Amazon facility or a warehouse?
To production. I think there's plenty enough land for all of us farmers to make a good living. And I think you don't need people being out here working 20 or 30,000 acres or however, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But if not, that's fine too. But I have to keep my rent ground up because I don't know when I'm going to lose. I lost 130 this year. Lose 150 last year.
Lose 500.
You lose it around, and you have to keep that up because remember, if it was just me, I wouldn't need that. But you have 4 entities trying to make a living out of this thing.
Yeah, your cousin, you got your son.
So it'd be just like me working 2,000 acres, 2,200 acres.
He makes a great point, though. I lost a pile of acres about, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I lost a bunch of acres.
Half your acres, 25%, what?
No, I lost over 1,500 acres in one crack. And I'm telling you what, I thought, holy crap, like the world's going to end. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I pretty much was freaking out. But at the end of the day, my health was tired of going stretching as far out as we were stretching. We were too damn big. We didn't have enough equipment to cover it all. So we got back to the place where I kind of felt more comfortable, and I'm doing a lot better job now than what I did then.
Your favorite saying, which you said this in my first 8 months with.
You're going to make him say that in every episode.
I think it's it's a brilliant statement, and it's an accurate.
It's brilliant until it hits you right in the mouth.
What is it?
Like it's done on me multiple times.
Say it.
Well, you can either be overcropped or undermanaged. And there's a fine line there where that's what I've been trying to find. I was farming about half of what I'm farming today. And then when Lane come in, I didn't have a whole lot of choice. It was either increase or decrease my income. Well, I had enough obligations on land payments and stuff. I really couldn't decrease my income. Mm-hmm. So to allow him to be able to come on the farm, we had to rent more ground. Mm-hmm. Well, then he wanted to rent more ground himself. You were joking with me the other day about.
So what do you do when you're in an area like Chad and I are in, and you don't have the opportunity to farm more ground because it's leaving there every day? Because that's the area that we live in. We live in a different area. We just can't go out there and be like, you know what we're going to do?
We're going to move to Deshae County.
Well,
that's a good idea. Mega farm.
I've tried to diversify in some other ag businesses, vertically integrate, do some things that's not just going out there and plowing the field. That's why my hands don't feel like yours do right now. It's because I have to run a few other different businesses.
I'm going to be honest with you, my wife's hands got a little more calluses on them.
I'm going to talk to you. How about this? Talk.
Well, look at this. See, he's shunning you.
Offended.
You offended him.
Call him, tell him I'm offended.
Okay.
He said you're a dirty redneck.
He ain't wrong there.
No, but you ask the question, what do you do? What options? You have to go with the options you got. And if you can't diversify into something else, you've either got to suck it up and try to live on less income. That's why when we talked in an earlier episode, I didn't farm. I would help my dad, but I didn't start actually farming. I had a job first.
Yep.
There wasn't enough land there. When the time comes, you just got to be patient till there's land there available. Now, in y'all's situation where you're losing acres, what you're doing drives me crazy. The dry land where you can't plan your marketing, have no idea what your yield's going to be, and every day somebody's taking some building a warehouse on it. That would absolutely drive me insane, those 3 things. If I had to farm like you, I probably wouldn't be farming.
It's,
I don't have the mental capability to do what you do. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, we kind of knew that. But anyway.
Yeah. Am I supposed to tell you I'm offended? Tell him I'm offended.
Yeah, move on.
Let me tell him I'm offended.
So I appreciate, what, speaking of mental capability, this is one more episode where I'm pointing out that this is the proper spelling of Granary. It's spelled like canary with a GR on the front.
Google it.
It comes from the word granular. Look it up on dictionary.com. Granary.
He's found one website that is spelled like out of 27.
He keeps referring back to this. It's just like canary. So is this Granary? This is Granary. Welcome to the Granary.
You can Granary. You know what I want? I just want you to keep coming back. All right. So this is a real thing. We don't have warehouses and all that, but I'm closer to suburbia. What you're saying about farm size, there's going to be consolidation around here, but the idea that you could just tomorrow run up and grab 640 acre square. Look at that map behind me. There ain't no 640 acre squares because we've been
go get 100 acres.
Yeah. So
good luck.
But it's hard to do. So that thing about scale, but I guess if it's me looking at it, are you the right size You're still trying to grab acres because you're losing them to a subdivision.
But I mean, Matt's exactly right. I mean, the guys, that farming 20,000 acres, I sit back there and I look at them because they've got such a great plan in place. Like Matt does with his acres. He's got such good people in place. They have
how many acres though?
Yeah, but I mean, not like that, but you're on the larger scale, but I mean, those, and maybe me and Temple's at that point where we're not quite big enough to have an agronomist. And you are, and those guys are, and they say
I'm building one in house. I got
that's right, but they do such a good job of putting people in place, for those type things and running that business as a business.
He hit the nail on the head. So when you're farming the larger acres, you've got a little bit bigger budget per acre. Yeah. So if you got 20 cents an acre for something and you've got 2,000 acres and that 20 cents an acre on 10,000 acres, you can afford to, I mean, I've got an in-house agronomist and I didn't realize what that was worth when I was a smaller farmer. Today, I wouldn't do it without it.
Actually, and not anyway, correct me. You said you got more dollars per acre. Really, what you have is you have more
acres,
more dollars, more acres to fund the dollar.
If you have a 20-cent budget an acre for X input, and you've got 10,000 acres versus 2,000,
then you can go and hire somebody. And the point is, it even gets to where it's the old diminishing economies of scale. You now, because of having so many acres, for you to say we're going to do this and it's going to cost 50, it might cost you 50 grand. If you farmed 2,000 acres or 50 grand if you farmed 12,000 acres. And so it becomes a more easy.
And if he don't manage it that way, then he won't have those acres. I mean, these landlords are, they do it because you're doing a good job. These guys are doing a good job and they've got to manage it in place.
Tell them about that equation you told me about the other day. You had to go make one decision and you averaged it across every acre instead of that one particular farm.
Yeah, it was a cash rent decision. Yeah. And the cash rent was higher than I'd ever paid before. I can't take credit for this. If I told you I said it,
no, you didn't.
I'm wrong.
You didn't.
And we're going through this, and Sherry and Lane and I are sitting down at the table, and I said, this is probably too much cash rent. And Dad said, well, take it, divide it over the total acres we have, 3 cents an acre. And so when he did that, it's like, boom, light went off. Okay, I can handle that. I can't do it on every farm, but I can do it on this specific farm. And so those kind of things, efficiencies, whether it's buying. So prime example, when I was farming half the acres I am now, well, I went and bought everything 2.5 gallon jugs, because my crop wasn't big enough for a tote or whatever. Then I built a warehouse, a small warehouse, just big enough so I could buy trailer truck loads of chemicals. Paid for the warehouse in 1 year just in the savings of the chemical. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Now, you can be a smaller farmer and co-op. Yep. If Chad, Tibble, and I were all 2,000 acres, we said, hey, we're going to buy our chemicals together, we get a 6,000 acre price. Right. There's ways around that, but those things like that, the equipment, the rolling equipment, I look at my equipment as a cost per acre. It's actually, believe it or not, contrary to what you believe, cheaper.
Don't look at me. Him too.
No, he said he would like to do it. You said it throwed you on the boat.
Well, I would like to do it, but that don't mean you can.
Well, if you look, all right, so my cost per acre on rolling this equipment is cheaper than maintaining old equipment.
We actually, not Chad and I, but me and Matt had a conversation about that one day. And he asked the question, he said, what is your expenses per year? And I told him, he's like, holy hell, on repairs. And he goes, and you do all the repairs yourself. You're dirty, you're greasy every day. You run around in a tool truck. That's all you want to do.
And the tool truck's breaking down to get to the.
Yeah, I broke down on the way to the field. I got to fix it first. I had to jump it yesterday so I could get out of shop. But anyway, he makes a good point. He was like, you know what my repair bill is on such said equipment? I said, what? He goes, zero, dude, zero. You're spending more money on that than you are on what I'd be paying on a payment. Are you out your mind? And I thought, shit. He's right.
I'm glad you guys shared it.
Where you been all my life?
I run the math this year because we were looking at, can we continue to do? They went up 1% on interest, which we still got to get a good interest rate what we're doing, but they went up 1% on interest. So I could go to the bank and borrow it at 8%, or I could do what I was doing. It still panned out again. I'm going to ride this horse till it falls down. I can just tell you that.
Temple, I was at your farm. I've been there 3 times. I'd like to point out again that I've been to his farm 3 times, your farm 3 times.
How many times
have you been to Matt's?
If I count all the times together, I'm still at 0, but mentally, I've been there a lot.
Spiritually.
Years.
Spiritually.
Years.
He saw it on a map. He knows where McGee is.
His wife promised me 30 minutes ago that she was coming to my farm. Now, if he don't want to come, I'm good either way.
Incidentally,
She ain't coming without me.
There you go.
wife, Caroline, has been to my farm, and I'm not even really a farmer, more than she's been to yours. And you guys are best buddies and been doing this business together for a year. I mean,
This is true.
I'm not saying,
I'm not
I'm not saying you should be offended, but you might be on the edge.
I'm getting a lot
I would
of
be
counseling
offended.
now so I can get better.
Well, I want to talk
And I am
about
better. No, you don't want to talk to that guy. I'm
I
telling
really
you,
do.
he throws me under the bus a lot. You ain't,
Oh, me and him.
I don't need two of them.
Let me give
I
him
don't
some
need two of
notes.
Hey, when I was at Temples, you said, of course, it's different there. We all know that. Maryland and all of them, Chesapeake Bay, God knows we've heard of all.
Eastern
Anyway,
Shore.
one thing was very interesting. You said, I lost 1,500 acres. I about dropped my drink, and I thought, wait a minute. I don't know any farmer that could. Most of them that I know are not quite the size of you, but
That wasn't all at one time. That was over a period of like 2.5 years.
well, most farming operations
It was rough.
lose 1,500 of acres of rented land in 2 years' time. Probably end up having to make some major like adjustments or liquidate. I mean, that's a big.
Well, the
That's
problem
what's called
was
what rent is.
Turn back 1,100 that last year. You know.
well,
yeah, he turned back 1,100. I mean,
what
it
adjustments?
was
What adjustments? So,
Equipment.
what adjustments did you make?
equipment. I was rolling equipment all the time.
So you got
and,
rid of some.
and I needed to stop that.
So you got rid of some machinery, people.
People, machinery, I got rid of those too. And I thought, you know what? I can do this without all these people and without all this
Is
equipment.
it safe to say that you're better per acre now than you were then because you got less distraction?
I got less risk. I got less distraction. I'm spending more time, teaching the next generation instead of just being annoyed with what what was in my background.
I don't know.
wouldn't
I don't
say
know
the
if there's
fun.
less distraction or not because that was before us,
Yeah.
and now we're in the picture, so you
Listen,
have
so
definitely
I've
more
also had to
distraction.
make some decisions in my life to cut y'all out too, because that's that fuzz and that distraction that's in the back of my head.
It's like an AM radio.
Yeah. It's like, and it's just like, I'm going to kick the dash out of this thing right now if I keep paying attention to this versus this. I had to
The way I
refocus
looked
my
at it,
life.
So the bigger you are, and I don't want to get labeled as a big farmer because we do get down for being large.
I'm not going to lie. I label you like that all
But
the time.
no, you don't. I know you don't.
Actually, I think
It allows you to do more things like being here today. Now, they make a joke, and I'm not leaving during harvest. I'm not.
Right.
But we were talking about a trip we may go on during planting time. I'm comfortable
But you've got
doing that.
You're big enough to have an employee and a son, employees and
It
son
actually
that
makes
can-
your job easier.
Well, you're a business owner at a certain
Yeah.
point. And by the way, when you said, and I think all the folks that we've invited via the camera to come here and sit at this table with us, they've had these questions. Whether they're a larger scale, they get judged in their
And
hometown.
a larger scale is per area. A large scale farmer in up north
right here,
is different from what it is in Alabama.
I know several 4,000 acre operators, and that's a pretty damn good sized operator in here because land's tight, and it's very expensive.
I'm not at the top of the.
And if you were a 4,000 acre operator in DSHA County, he had people that
You're
were farming
probably smaller
1,000
down there
acres
at 5,000
who
acres.
work for him.
at what
Yeah,
farm?
yeah, right.
No. If you were a 5,000 acre grower in your area, you would be considered a small farmer.
Yes, you'd be on the high side of the small farmer range.
And if you were a 5,000 acre operator here, you'd be one of the 20 bigger ones in the county.
7,000 to
I'd be saying
8,000
that.
is probably average.
And that's where us as farmers just need to get away from the whole thing of
Big farmer.
little farmer. Just do a good job and figure out where that breaking point is on you
Matter
making
what
money.
works for you works for you.
Well,
works
and
for
that's
you,
what
works
I
for you.
we
That's right.
sum this up. It's whatever makes you happy. I love Russ also.
At what point you're in your life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm starting to want to go backwards a little bit. Now I'm repositioning some land strategically, but in 5 years I will be farming less acres than I am now. I can promise you.
Yeah, unless Lane says I'm going full bore.
You promised me that, and I'm actually gonna put money on the table. No, you won't be, because Lane won't want to be. So I'm gonna put money on
You're
the table
wrong.
against that.
You're wrong. You're betting on the wrong person. I'm telling you, they both feel the same way because they are worried about their family and doing the right thing. And you're wrong.
So they're gonna scale down.
They're
But
gonna-
this
they
is
will
the problem, though.
How many
this was
years?
my problem.
10.
5. I said 5.
I thought you said
You delight in telling me I'm wrong.
I won't be alive in 10.
I actually
I want to put 20 on the bandit.
I won't be alive in 10.
You go on the
How about you?
So me and Chad say you'll be bigger because of Lane.
Daddy, give me 20 on the bandit.
What you got to think about, though, and this is what made me stay. When Lane was 16 years old, I didn't know which way he was going to go. You got some kids and you like, that kid's going to be a farm kid. You got some says he may be a doctor, lawyer, farmer. I'm not sure what he's going to do. if we go to dropping large amounts of acres, I've got $2,000. He's got 2 sons. How's 4 people going to make a living out of that smaller acreage? So that's
what me and you banking on.
And that may happen. I may need to respect
farmers. Oh, whoa! He didn't bet with you, and you retracted his statement.
I shook hands.
By the way, it's $1,000. So if you want to go ahead,
no, he just said he'd take 20 on the bandit. So that's I know it's
20 large, 20 grand, 10 me, 10 him.
I tell you what, I made a 10 grand bet over
20,000.
Just because I've made one.
I was say for 20 grand, you'll just start dropping acres. It's Memphis. You go through these things, and you brought up something that's very interesting. And everybody, again, that's watching this, there's judgment about this. Well, them big time operators, like you said.
Yeah, but there's judgment on both sides. And there's large scale farmers out there, not being ignorant, that looks down at the little guy. Yeah. And you were getting ready to say something about Russ. Go ahead and finish that.
Yeah, like Russ. I learned more from him. Yep. It's what you said. They have their boots in the field 100% of the time.
Yeah, he's a small scale farmer in Tennessee. He's an XtremeAg.
Jackson goes and sprays,
and he's very on top of every day.
If Jackson goes and sprays 400 acres for Chad, he's not going to have looked at that 400 acre.
Yeah,
that's why I love to run a picker, because cotton will tell you your mistakes more than any other crop you got, and I can find every single problem I had.
It's 6 rows at a time, slow.
6 rows at a time.
He claims Miles Farms is going to have cover less acres in 5 years. We disagree. Me and him got money on that. Is Chestnut Manor Farms going to cover less acres or more acres 5 years from now?
I hope it can't be less for us. I hope that it grows more, but if the boys don't grow it any more than what it is today, because eventually in 5 years, I hope to be a little more out of the picture. Mm-hmm. I'll never be out of the picture.
Bob was 86 and was running a combine last month when I was there. So you're saying that,
I respect my father for being the person that he is, and I really appreciate who he is and what he's done for all the generations that come after him. But as much as I'd like to be like my dad, I don't want to be like him. In a lot of ways,
put 20 on Bandit again.
They're going to be bigger?
He's not going to be bigger, but he's never going to get out of that combine. Now, he may not run the day-to-day.
Yeah, but that's my point. I can do what I'm good at.
That's right.
You'd love to do
and then I'd love it, and then all my pressure will be off.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be in a combine. He's going to be running what little T is.
He's 85 years old, running the combine, listening to the weather channel. When he's on there, he never listens to the radio unless it's the weather channel, because you know it when he's been in something, because it's on the weather channel, and it's the same thing.
This is no weather radar.
Yeah. And they're telling you the radar and what the weather's going to be. I don't want to be like him, because you know what he is? He's worried about the weather, the markets, and where we're going to go tomorrow. And he's 85. I don't want to be him.
And he really don't even have to have a job.
What I want to be is the boys and Madeline running the farm, and me out there on the combine, and I'll be in there laid back.
And you'll be like, hey, I just want to let you know these 6 rows suck over here.
I'm going to make a phone call and be like everybody does now. Hey, I'm broke down. I'm in the back. I want to be like, hey, I'm broke down. I'm going to sit in this thing with the air conditioner, and I'm going to sit here until you get here. Good luck.
That's almost me sometimes. I ran more equipment this year than I have in the last 5, because Lane taking over the daily operation. I can just get on a tractor or picker.
You kind of like the freedom. It's a little less taxing.
Damn right. Man, you sit up there and you can answer the radio or phone call and make decisions from there and just hang out.
You're gonna put some more,
another 20. He don't answer the phone. But this is you my side or his side?
No, he's gonna start answering. If he don't have any obligation, don't need to worry no more.
There you go.
He'd be on the phone all the time. I'd be like, why is Matt calling again?
I've got my goofy headset on and everything.
Oh hell yeah,
Chad. I would say that you and Kevin Matthews are likely, and Johnny Burrell, the 3 that live with suburbia and in development, encroaching on you the most. Therefore, you would say most likely of the XtremeAg guys. It ain't going to happen to Lee Lubers.
It ain't happening to Kelly.
There's 14 people that live within 80 miles of Lee Lubers. It ain't going to happen to Kelly because Crawford County, Iowa.
It ain't going to happen to Kelly because he owns the whole town.
So, but Varel and you and Kevin Matthews, you're going a lot more miles to pick up some acres. You've got more development, the Sun Belt and all that. You're the one that's most likely to be a smaller scale farmer 5 years from now than these two. We don't even put wagers on that.
I try to get him to move.
Or as I say, or do you just pick up stakes?
He
I don't
won't.
think
I
he'll
done
move.
tried. I've gave him thousands of acres that he could farm, and he's like, I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, I mean, I'm not saying at this point in my life, but I mean, I'm content with where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, our farm's doing well. We're making a living, and you know, we'll just try to farm better. You know, we'll just keep honing in on what we're doing. You know, and do a good job.
Say, Chad, that you're going to not be expanding acres just because of the shortage of the acres.
Chad is a larger scale farmer with a small scale farmer's mentality.
That may be a derogatory statement.
It's not. It's not, because a small scale farmer has to do everything
He just
perfectly.
slapped my mama.
He has to do everything perfectly, and that's exactly what he does.
So this is what's going to happen to Chad. He may get bigger because there's not another generation coming in there. What land's left?
Yeah.
He's probably got a lot of old guys that
could retire.
He's the best farmer in that area.
Oh, that could be.
I
So
don't know about that,
the
man.
number of, because it's getting so suburbanized,
We just mess up and tell people about it more than most people.
you think the farmers go away, and the land that's not developed, somebody needs to operate.
He's got a farm.
And that's what we're saying. You know, that you know, there's I'd say a handful of guys that's my age, and there's 3 times that many that's my dad's age. You know, so between us handful, you know, we'll just keep divvying it down until we get to where there's a handful
Let
of
me
guys
ask y'all
working.
both this. If you had a super duper 2,000 acre farm that come up for rent, 2,000 acres, that's a pretty big block.
Mm-hmm.
And it come up and it was a perfect scenario. Would either one of you rent it today?
Yep.
Absolutely. Would you? No question.
Yeah.
I already know the answer to it.
Yeah.
So then let's.
So how many states away is it?
In your town.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I was
Oh, you
gonna
got to move. Oh, so I was going with you.
Well, there's the thing that you just said. Is there any farmer that doesn't want to get bigger? They might say, "Oh, we're fine right now," but as he just pointed out, yeah,
and you know,
bigger.
and
If I tell my wife I'm about to slow down, I'm going to reduce ground, she immediately goes to the bank, gets more money because she says, I know you're fixing to rent some more acre. Every time you say it.
and you know, you think about that.
And that's happened that way. It ain't on purpose.
And let's just talk about that for a second. You know, everybody says, oh, well, let's just, man, it's 1,000 acres. Let's just pick that up. Well, if you've done it,
It has to
you
be
just
the
done
right
it.
ones.
You've done it or lost it either way. But man, you talking about if you ought to go in and sit down at that chair with your banker and be like, hey, I just rented this farm over here. And he's like, you did what?
Yeah, right.
You're like, you know, where you gonna get that money from? You know, like, oh, I was gonna get it from you. Like, yeah, you up here now. So it's a different mentality when you have to start going in and you have to go to all your co-ops. You have to up that number. You have to go to all your places and up that number. You know.
Well, this economy we're having now,
Yeah.
I've had access to rent 9,100 acres this year.
And that's not a good thing.
No,
That's
it's
not a good
It's a
thing.
scary thing. And I told this in the meeting the other day. I didn't tell them amount of acres, but I said thousands of acres I've been offered to rent. Now, 5,000 of it's in one block. It's too far from me, but that's scary.
I'd went.
Well, it's a big number to take on. Right?
Could you?
It's scary for all the farmers that are having a problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That means coming up.
Yeah.
That means and in a down economy.
Yeah.
When consolidation.
And since that time that happened, I can think of about, including that 9, there's probably 20,000 acres that's changed hands in my 2 counties in the last 30 days.
Well, way back when, it's been quite a few years ago, when prices first, what year was that? Was that 12 or whatever it was?
Well, blew up.
Well, when they run up.
when that blew up,
down.
that exact time, there was a bunch of farms that came up for rent because the landowners said, oh man, our farms are worth a lot more money. And they start putting them out to bid. Well, that one year I literally put bids in and I was like, all right, I'm ready. And we went in, we picked up like almost 1,600 acres. That was a mistake. You don't want to, like, that was hard for me. It's not hard for you because you already got the equipment to do it. I wasn't quite there to have that much equipment. So then I'm like, okay, I got to get more money. I got to pick up more. I'm picking up more land.
I need another planter. I need another sprayer.
I need more tractors. I need this. I need that. And I was like, I'll be fine. Prices are real good. Well, 2 years later, what happened?
When it's not just prices, you've got to figure out in your mind how many acres you can manage. And if you can manage 10,000,
farm 10,000.
so you can farm 10,000 and manage it and make a good yield.
Yeah.
But if you go to 12 and you lose 2 bushel on that other 10, picking up that extra 2?
Yeah, right.
You haven't done a damn thing.
Yeah, you just banged yourself.
Yeah.
I love the statement. First off, I like that you asked the question, if 2,000 acres came up for rent, you would say, oh, we're happy, we're the right size. Oh, no, we'd rent that. So farmers want to take on more. It's natural. Has happened for a long time. And then your favorite statement, my favorite statement that you've ever said about what's the right size?
What's the right size?
The right size. You are either...
Oh, you're either overcropped or undermanaged.
You're either overcropped or you're undermanaged.
Or both. Tell us both.
Both. All right. We asked the question, does size matter? We're talking about farm size. You know, whether you're a big farmer, a small farmer, a little farmer, however you qualify yourself, it really doesn't matter. You're always invited to join us right here at this table. And we want you to join us, have a little fun, sit down with real farmers for real discussion. It's what we do here at the Granary. We're so glad you came along. It's a great conversation, guys. I really appreciate you having me. Till next time, we'll see you next time here. Cheers from the Granary.